All right, before we start the video, I'm going to thank Sean Fries, my Facebook buddy, on his new build he sent over. This is the raw version of the PK Ripper that he just bought, and these are some of the decals he's going to use for it, and some of the parts, the stem, headset, and he was showing me all the pictures as he was gathering the parts. He had the frame powder-coated baby blue, which I thought was a cool touch. Here's the finished product of the powder coating. And then he started assembling the bike. So as he was assembling the bike, he's just sending me updates. That gold is complementing the baby blue so well, along with those gold decals. So the PK Ripper's coming along with the red line flights there. He says he's going to put a haro plate on there eventually. And then here's your complete bike. Now it's missing the chain and the brake cable, but this is about 95% complete. Such a great build. Thanks so much for sharing that with me, bud. Guys, welcome back. Welcome back. I'm finally over my flu. I'd been sick for, oh my God, it felt like 2 weeks. I finally shook that thing. I don't know where it came from. I don't think it was COVID, but I was pretty sick. But anyway, I'm back. Let's do a magazine today. So we're going to do BMX Action, October 1984. This one has a good cover, although I don't have it, obviously. But on the cover, it was Buff-O-Matic sure picked some strange times to see his front axle nuts are tight, like during a BMX Action trick show at the Murray World Cup. Sheesh. That was written by Oz. I'll attach the picture of the magazine right here, but it's actually pretty cool. Hutch Trickstar he's riding, and it's got that candy apple red finish on it, so it's a really cool looking bike, and he's wearing Max gear, which I thought was kind of cool. And I think he was one of the only Hutch riders to wear Max gear. I don't know how accurate that is, but it's the only one I remember actually doing it. As far as our fun facts for 1984, I just looked up a couple things. Here we go. Michael Jordan was drafted by the Chicago Bulls in 1984. It was a big deal because he was already heavily marketed and the Jordans were already out. I mean, I got my Jordans in 1984, begged my mom to get them for me for Christmas, and I got them. They were like 100. No, they weren't even 100. I think they were close to $100. And the thing was about my shoes is I wanted them so bad that when we found them at a Foot Locker, they only had an 8 and an 8.5. So the left one was smaller than the right one, and I still took them. I don't know what happened to those shoes. I wish I still had them. He was the third overall pick, though, so he wasn't even the number one pick. The number one pick was Akeem Olajuwon, who actually got drafted by the Houston Rockets, which you would have thought that Jordan would have went first, but the world didn't know yet what was to come. 1984 Motor Trend Car of the Year, I've talked about this before, was the Corvette C4. So the Corvette C4 was really innovative car. It was the first time it did a complete body change in years. The C3 ran from, geez, I don't know, guys, I think from 1970 or 69 all the way to 1981 or 82. And then there was no 83 Corvette. So the 84 Corvette was the rebirth of the whole car, which was awesome with the digital dash. And I've always wanted one. I actually had a C4, but it was a 1996 Corvette C4, which I actually wish I still had. Top movies for 1984, Ghostbusters, obviously, that's an obvious one. Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom, Gremlins, and one of my favorite movies of all time, The Terminator. Now, I know there's a lot of Terminator movies, but the original Terminator is still one of my favorites. That came out in 1984. Here's a really cool thing, though, too, is Apple released what's called the Apple Macintosh computer in 1984. My mom actually got me that computer. You guys are going to hear me say this a lot. My mom just took such good care of me. I remember all these things now because 1984, she said, hey, I got you something. She had got us an Apple IIe in 83, and it was just too difficult to use. So in 84, she turned around and she got me an Apple Macintosh. It was the first time I used a computer that actually had a mouse on it, which was very, very cool. And it was the first time I could sit at home, use a home computer efficiently. Like I knew how to use it. I could play games with it. I could do book reports with it. I could do a lot of stuff with it. It was just so easy to use, and it was kind of the birth of what we see today, which is actually really cool. Anyway, those are the fun facts for 1984. Let's get into the magazine. So let's get started. So on the inside cover, they're going to be testing the Diamondback Turbo, which is really cool. I can't wait to get into that. I kind of thumbed through this one already. there is a huge equipment guide for 1984, so we're going to kind of go through that one. We got racing at the Murray World Cup and the 1984's hottest rookie pros. We got outtakes with RL, and of course we know that Buff's on the cover. This shot right here is actually from the Diamondback test, and I believe that's Kirk right there. And just look at this shot, guys. How awesome would this be on a hoodie, t-shirt, sweatshirt, whatever? That is such a beautiful shot. Again, courtesy of Oz, and that's what all BMX Action's all about. All right, guys, let's get into it, and I'll see you in there. All right, let's go. I feel so much better, guys. I have a voice again, and I don't feel nauseous, so I'm really confident we're going to get through this magazine here on my lunch hour, no problem. Okay, so what do we got? Inside cover, we got racing tips, and we got Harry, Larry, and Eddy King here, and we got this great Johar ad of it blasting through the magazine here. This is one of my favorite sets of pads that I've ever had, was the Johar ones. They were so cool. I talked about this in length with my buddy Kevin over at the BM Experts podcast, and we talked about how the pad sets evolved from the snaps, the vinyl with the snaps, to this, and this was just far better. And again, I've said it before, but I really wish that this was still a thing. We've got a good shot here of Mike Buff. And then likewise, we have R.L. Osborne doing his Redline, let's see, the System RL flipped over is the Redline fork lifter bar. And this is a great shot. Looks like he's doing a backflip. And you know, it's 1984. I don't think anybody's actually done a backflip yet on a bicycle, so that's actually pretty cool. All right, let's keep going. All right, we got the Team Murray ad, which we've seen many times, and I believe this is Scott Clark here. And then this uni ad, I saw this yesterday because I flipped through this magazine trying to determine whether or not I've actually reviewed this magazine. And I was cracking up when I saw this ad because look at he's got the little paws and the hoofs. We got looks like a unicorn / horse, a bear, a ram, and a jaguar. So that's really cool. These uni uniforms, obviously they weren't the greatest of quality, but their color combinations were really cool. And if you look at them, some of them were really something that you could have matched with, let's say, another sort of race team. Like this red, white, and blue would have complemented a Skyway jersey. You got the black and silver, which definitely would have complemented a Diamondback jersey. You got the yellow and blue back here. I'm thinking maybe Torker, but Torker's more yellow-black. And then you have the red, white, and black, which would have went with Powerlight. So I kind of see where Uni was going. They were trying to make it possible for you to grab yourself a uniform, and you can mix and match it with some of the factory team colors that were out there if you didn't want to run the Uni jersey. So I thought that was really cool. We got a cool ad here from Uni as well, and this is their advertising their Uni hand grenade grips. Now, personally, I've not owned these, but I've experienced how hard these grips were. I don't think they wouldn't be my first choice for a grip because they didn't feel comfortable to me. But I like the ad. You can see the grab-on grip here, and then it looks like a Oakley B1B right here. And this is just really cool artwork. I think it's a really good ad. And you can get these grips from $6.95 to $7.95, so that's really good. And I believe I paid about that much for a set of Amy's. Usually it was less. I know it was less than $10. Okay, here we go, the Diamondback Turbo. Now this bike, and I've mentioned before in previous magazines when they do look at the Turbo, in my opinion, it's one of the most iconic complete bikes that you could have bought in the 80s. It was very well put together, well balanced bike, and it was just beautiful to look at. We got Kirk, and it looks like that's Eddie right there. Let's read to make sure. Eddie and Captain Kirk, it is. Working on routine in case synchronized aerial radness ever makes it into the Olympics. That is such a great shot. And it was, in case you're wondering why RL and Buff aren't testing, they along with Duke and Winkle are zipping around the country trying to frying the minds of BMXA summer tour. So they're out there doing the trick team tour, and that's why Kirk is in here doing the testing. Kirk's super stylish rider, though, as you can see. And look at Eddie getting busy here, and he's on his personal ride right here. Let's keep going. Oh, wow, look at this shot. This is a great shot of Captain Kirk right here. Now, this is straight Supercross style racing. I love this just straight cross up, and he's got some good air here. And it says a southerly view of Captain Kirk headed north. His next pair of pants are definitely going to be changed to Adam Kirk. So anyway, that is really, really cool. I love this. And here's some of the shots of the Diamondback here. Of course, it's running the front brakes because it's the Harry Larry Turbo. And I love these cranks, how it's stamped right here. The Sagino Bear Trap pedals complement the cranks very, very well. And then here's your full specs. Top tube of the bike, it's not showing me, unfortunately, but it looks like, if I was, my best guess is this is probably 18 and a half. So it's a very short bike. The stem on it is also very short, but the bike overall is pretty cool. Because I remember looking at this bike in bike shops, just complete, just sitting there, and I always drooled over that bike. My cousin James ended up getting this exact bike. Complete bike price $495, so a pretty hefty price tag, but for what you're getting, it's definitely worth it at the time. It's all stacked. It's ready to race. Nothing you need to do to make it better, in other words. We got the Oakley goggle ad here. I've seen this one before. I love the white and the blue with the mirrored lenses. Great lighting. Oakley's just superior in their ads, but remember, most of this is driven from their motocross heritage. Okay, let's keep going. Here's some more stuff on the test. So these shots are great. Here's another great shot of Kirk. You can see he's blasting the air right here. It looks like that might be, is that Eddy right there? Eddy taking a breather, yeah, while Kirk heads to the moon at the wall in Irvine. These guys were taking turns launching off the wall for about a half hour, but when we got kicked out, some dude from the country. So no, we got kicked out by some dude from the country, so we had to pack up the show truck on over to the Irvine track for the rest of the test. So in other words, they were out on this empty field here, getting their workout on, getting their pictures done, and getting it all set up. And some landowner chased them off, so they ended up having to go to the track. But this is a great shot right here. Here's a great thing: 5 minutes with Eddy King. I met Eddy King over at Frogtown, and he's such a cool guy, very soft spoken. At the time, he was 19 years old. They asked, "How's your racing going?" He says, "I got quite a few thirds and fourths, but nobody notices those. What do you have to do to get up on the top? Get lucky. I'll have to get a little more luck." And that's kind of a humble answer, but I seen this dude racing in his rookie year. He was phenomenal. Is it a lot tougher this year? It's a little bit tougher. It's never going to be easy. I think you can see that with Greg Hill and Harry Larry. They're both struggling this year, really struggling. You mentioned that with Harry and Eddy. Who are the guys to beat? No one in particular. Polson's a little bit on a roll. What's your weak point right now? He says probably my mentality. And what is it going to take for you to get psyched up? He says a series of big wins. So I'm not going to read everything, but these are really cool interviews. I always like to go back and read them because I think they're really cool. This is a great shot here of Eddy, and he's driving his Porsche 944. And it's a white Porsche 944, and I was reading some of the stats of it right here and some of the tech that was in the car. And they made a big deal out of the fact that he had a he had a radar detector, no navigation in sight. The cars back in the 80s were very analog, but a Porsche 944 is, again, one of my favorite cars. I remember watching 16 Candles, and the lead character in the movie, Jake, he had a red Porsche 944, and I remember him standing in front of the car waiting for the Molly Ringwald character to come outside, and I thought to myself, oh my God, I want that car. So that was such a good advertisement for Porsche at the time. Here's a great race shot right here. You got Eddy and Kirk getting busy right here. This is a great, great shot. Again, I love the blurred effect that represents the speed of the whole thing. It's so cool. All right, we got a JT ad, which we've seen a bunch of times, so we'll skip on over that. BMX Pro products here. Nice looking helmet with visor. These helmets, man, I got to tell you guys, going from an open face helmet to a full face helmet was one of the most difficult things for me to do in terms of visibility and weight. It's still something I don't really care for too much, although everybody runs full face helmets. I've really missed the open face helmet and just the freedom it felt when I was riding. Now, obviously, if you fall and you're wearing a full face helmet, life's going to be a lot better for you. But for some reason, I don't know. I really still miss that profile crank ad, which we've seen. And we've got the ODI ad here with the mushroom grips. That's really cool. And then I've seen this one before. This is the Pro Class Cruiser for Mongoose. And then you got your flight checkered tape. Now, I don't know what you would use the checkered tape for. No idea. I guess you can put it wherever you want. I don't know if it's kind of like the skateboardish where it's rough, but I have no idea what the purpose of this is, but it is what it is. We were putting checkers anywhere we could back then. Here we go. Okay, the equipment guide. So we'll run through these as quickly as we can because there is a lot in here. We got the Murray X20R. This is your typical bike that you could have picked up in any department store. This is probably the bike you would most commonly see in your neighborhood. Lots of kids got them. They were decent bikes for what they were, and I think they were like $100-something. So you got your Diamondback Formula One, which is a great entry-level BMX race bike, and then of course this is called a Laser 500. I don't recall Laser, but it's definitely here. It looks like an entry-level BMX bike, but it's much better than what you would expect from a Murray. You got your SE Racing Factory Quad Angle Bike Kit. That's a great setup right there. The CW2000 GT Pro Series. Now you're really getting up there with the GT Pro Series. Most of these are not showing prices, by the way, guys. The Diamondback Viper, that's definitely your entry-level Diamondback. Another Laser, but this one's called the Laser 1000. Diamondback Super Viper. Wow, Diamondback had a lot of models out. We had the Redline Carrera 2, Mongoose Pro Class Cruiser, so you can get a complete race bike cruiser, Hutch Pro Raider, which was getting closer to the top but not quite, and then your GT Team Series model, which was $299. So that's a pretty good buy, especially compared to the Diamondback Turbo, which was almost $500. You can save almost $200 by just getting the GT Team Series bike instead, which is a steal. We got the GT Mach 1, which went for $229, and the MT Racing Smart Fox. No price on that one. Redline 500A, which is only $200 for that one. We got the Diamondback Super Streak. Golly, Diamondback had some models out there. No price. MT Racing UFO, and then the MT Racing Fox Model TS. MT had quite a few bikes out too. Redline 600B, so there's their second installment from Redline. MT Racing Silver Fox, so now it's starting to get up there a little bit in the quality. And then, of course, SE Racing PK Ripper Factory Bike Kit. That's amazing. I had this bike, so of course I bought it as a frame and fork and built it up myself, but I love that bike. Moving on, CW3000 in the Profile Mini Champ Pro Frame and Fork. We got a Skyway TA Extra Long. When this came out, I had already had my Skyway, and I did not have the extra long. Me being shorter guy didn't really seem to matter to me much, but I think I would have enjoyed the extra long. We got the Profile Lockjaw, and then of course the Patterson 200 frame and fork set. This is one of my favorite frame and fork sets, and I wish I would have owned one of these back in the day. Vector Mark 2 Pro Frame and a GT Pro Frame and Fork. We have the Hutch Pro Racer Frame and Fork. And here's the Pistol Pete frame from CW. This one, boy, collectors would go nuts if you can get your hands on one of those. You got the GHP Pro Frame set, the original GHP. Look at this weird angle on the seat post. That's weird. I mean, that's a laid back seat post. That is a strange angle. But again, a pretty cool setup. Okay, let's keep going. Now we're into the parts part. We have another GHP BMX GHP BMX Long Pro Frame set. And then we've got the grips, Tioga stems, more ODI grips, Vector bars, Amy duals, Oakley B2s, and the Tioga Task Force grips. Wow, these look a little futuristic here. Vector alloy mini bars, and then the Oakley B1Bs and so forth. And then, of course, some of my favorite Sun Tour pedals. Let's keep moving. We've got the Sagino CT BMX Chrome cranks, and look at the Terry Cable power cranks. This is this looks impressive. Whether or not these cranks were super good or not, I don't know, but this sure is an impressive ad. The profiles, the Saginos, Kuwahara power disc, and the Powerlight Pro plates. Of course, we got some chains and some Tioga one-piece cranks here. And that's about it for right now. Let's move on to the next ad. We've got the California Freestyle bike from CW. I've seen this bike before, and I honestly don't understand the whole concept of this bike. It looks like a big shopping cart to me. Yeah, not a fan of this one, but I love CW racing bikes. Let's keep going. We got some tires here from GT IRC and from Pana Racer, the Mongoose Pro race rims, and of course the Epic Competition 3 tires. Nobody came close to the quality of this tire. And then of course the GT Mach 1 ad with Rob Fade. At this point, I'm pretty sure that Greg was on doing his GHP thing, so that's why you're not seeing him. $229 for the complete GT Mach 1. It's a great steal. Let's keep going. More equipment guide for tires, tubes, and then the Diamondback ad. Now this one I really like. Now I've mentioned this before with Diamondback really putting a lot of effort into their ads, and this one just explodes with color. It's very vibrant. You got the trophies, you got all these ribbons in the air. They got the Diamondback wins again, giant newspaper here, some of the trophies here, the cup here, then of course the iconic Diamondbacks here and here. And everybody on this team ultra fast. So when you see something like this, it just grabs your attention, and that's why Diamondback was just so massive. You saw all the bikes that they had out in the bike line. Okay, let's keep moving. I keep winning by this much. You got the Zap ad. Now I was thinking about this too because we know Greg Hill prior to Brian Patterson was kind of the poster boy for Zap pads. So I'm kind of wondering if there was a disconnect with Zap Pad with Greg and then Brian stepped in, or was Greg still promoting it? Because I can see from 83 to 84 there's a shift in who's doing the ads. It's just something I never noticed until I started doing these reviews. All right, let's keep going. This is a great Freestyling by Skyway ad, Eddy Sigmund. Now, Eddy is a racer. He's not a freestyler, but this is still a great shot. I wonder what transpired to get him to do this ad, as he's a 13 expert racer at the time. And they said, hey, Eddy, we need you to do a freestyle ad for us and promote the products. I wonder how that went down or transpired, but that's still a great shot. This is obviously a Skyway TA. It has some modifications with these. I think they call these Skyway Easy bars, I believe. I guess so you can sit right here on them to perform more tricks. But the bike overall is pretty cool, though, for what it is. Okay, let's keep moving. Pages are sticking together. We got the Vector ad. Vector's a Vector USA Victory 1. This is a decent looking bike for $275. It's complete. You got the Uni and Alina seats over here. We're still seeing the equipment guide over here with the Tioga seat clamp right there. Look at all the gear ad right here. This is really cool. I wonder what happened to these guys, you know? Let's keep going. Akron saddles, more seats here, and then of course we got the Fox A Perfect bike for under $165. So you're kind of getting the theme of this magazine, and that is because it's an equipment guide magazine, I'm noticing there's a lot of ads and everybody's showing their stuff. And it's a good time to do it, because if somebody's looking through the equipment guide and they see a bike that like may catch their attention, and it's just a small black and white photo. But if you go, hey, what's this Fox bike all about? Well, here's their ad right here. And it gives you better perspective of what the bike looks like in living color. So that's pretty awesome. All right, let's go. So we're now entering the Murray World Cup. The reason I hesitated to do this magazine is I remembered this picture so well that I felt like I did this magazine. Did I do this? Because this looks really familiar, but I went through my channel and I didn't see this magazine anywhere. That's Mike Miranda in there. All right, let's keep going. This is a great shot, man. Race photos, always my favorite. It looks like we got John Cruz over here. Now, I can pick out John Cruz almost immediately in a pack of riders just because how stylish he was. And I love the way he's got his numbers here on the number plate, the larger 09 numbers, and you can see they're slanted, and he's got them kind of jammed together with all the co-sponsor stickers here on the side. It just looks super race. And I guess this would be Brian Patterson right here and Rob Fade. Is that Rob Fade? I'm not sure if that's Rob Fade or not. And then we have what looks to be Gary Ellis, Eric Group, and then we've got a couple riders here I can't identify in the background. $10,000 up for grabs for the Murray World Cup. So the Murray World Cup is big, big money. And this is the Dixieland track, by the way. Let's take a look and see what these race pictures. Oh, here we go. We've got a great shot here of Poulsen. Now he's racing pro now, and you can see he's mixing it up. He's in front of Eddy King. He's in front of John Cruz. So Poulsen, I know when you think of Poulsen, you think of an outstanding amateur, but you can obviously see he was definitely a good pro, and he's mixing it up with the heavies. Here's a great shot here of Brian. That could be Brent. Matter of fact, let me make sure. Nope, that's number 5, excuse me. That's Brent Patterson. And then we've got over here on insert number 1 is Brent Romero and George Sievers. Chicken George and Aaron Sally, he's tucked in there as well. Or Aaron Sally would be back here. And then we've got Peter Casano sitting here with the Tioga race gear on. That's a great, great shot. And on this insert right here, it looks like it's Ron Anderson getting busy. And that was not Cruiser. I guess he won some money in Cruiser. But he's racing a Patterson here. It's interesting. That's pretty cool. He's Factory 09. When you're Factory 09, I always check to see what the riders are actually riding, and he's definitely on a Patterson right here. I think I would see Ronnie a lot on Boss, so it's interesting to see he's on a Patterson. I believe that Boss was making the frames for Patterson, I think. Don't quote me on that one. I'm going off memory right now. Let's keep moving. Here's a great aerial shot of the track right here. And then we've got a good shot right here. What's going on the bottom? Getting down over the first jump. Some mighty quick motin going on here. Brian Lopes, number 17, and that's on the SE bike right there. Got second behind the almost unbeatable Jason Johnson, who's sitting right here in 12 Expert. Longman, no, this is Longman Cunningham. Longman Cunningham dusted them in the 12 and 13 Open. So this looks like Jason Johnson here on the Skyway gear. So this is a great, great shot. This is an epic shot right here. I've seen this one before with you got Mike Miranda and Tommy Brackens. And like I said, every time this is now, like I said, the second time I've gone over this and I go, boy, I hope I didn't do this magazine. Let's see who did what in the Murray World Cup. A-Pro Money, Mike Miranda won the class. Pete Lonkarovich took second. Greg Hill. Eric Group, Tommy Brackens, Anthony Sewell, Mike Poulsen, and Toby Henderson. Pro Cruiser was Ron Anderson, Greg Hill, Pete Lonkarovich, Rod Beckering, rest in peace, Turnell Henry, Dave Marietti, Scott Clark, and Brent Patterson. Finally, Pro Award, Ron Anderson won that one, Brian Patterson, and Nelson Chanity. So that was Nelson Chanity in that intro shot. And then B Pro was Dee Leone, Tim Judge, and Don Jolie. Great, great finishing. There was a lot of money up for grabs. I love the factory, Torker gear here, guys. That's really, really cool. The equipment guide is still going on with another Uni seat here, a Uni seat post, and of course the seat post cover from Uni. Here's a great ad here from Kuwahara. This is the Kuwahara laser light. And then you still have Gary in there along with Clint. This is before Gary made that jump on over to GT. I believe Gary went to Huffy before GT though, so I think he went factory Huffy after this one. All right, let's keep going. More stuff for the equipment guide here. We got another Tioga ad here. Oh, here's another great shot. This is a familiar pose we saw Mike Miranda doing in a CW ad. But this is Eddie Fiola, and he's doing the Vans ad here. This is a great, great ad, by the way. I don't remember seeing this one. All these shoes are still very, very cool to this day. More equipment guide with the pad sets going on right here, and Sumo racing rims over here. We got this random snowboard ad here. Lots of ads, guys. Lots of ads. So this magazine's not taking me as long as I thought. We got the Hutch grips here and the Hutch hubs here. Here a hub, there a hub. We got the JT Racing gloves and the elbow pads from Haro here. Here's a great race ad from the tires for IRC. They did motocross and BMX. Very, very cool. Next page. Here's the profile for the youngest Lions that are roaring, 1984's hottest rookie pros. Don Jolie was only 19 years old, 5'7", 160 pounds, racing for Factory Raleigh. And then we had Dee Leone at 19 years old, 6'2", 195, Factory Redline. Rich Zagars, 19 years old, 5'11", 180 pounds, Factory Profile. We got Mike Polson at 19 years old, 5'11", 175 pounds, and he is racing for Factory Schwinn. Great shot here, love it. Then we got Gary Ellis, Tacoma, Washington. He was only 19 at the time, 6'2", 195. I'm going to say something about Gary. I ran into Gary at the Frogtown event, got to take a photo with him. This dude is still looks like this, other than the hair's a little bit grayer, obviously, but he's super fit still, took really good care of himself. As a matter of fact, I even commented, I go, look at this guy. Looks like he never stopped racing, so that's a great, great shot. What else do we got? Nelson Chanity was 20 years old, 5'10", 175 pounds, and racing for Factory GT. Timmy Judge, Miami, Florida, 19 years old. Everybody's about 19 or 20. He's 5'11", 165. So it looks like 5'10", 5'11 is kind of the average height for the factory pros back then, which would have put me on the shorter end, obviously. Oh, here we go. We got the equipment. Boy, these pants are ugly. Stick 'em up outline bolt racing pants. Eesh. Not a fan of those. Love this racing helmet, though, from this is the JT racing helmet, but they're actually advertising the no sweat brow band, so this would have went on your forehead here. Kind of cool. I don't know if it's necessary. We don't have our helmets on that long to sweat that much. Great ad from CW for the Phase 1. Cameretta Phase 1. That's awesome. Ooh, this is a great Patterson ad here. Team Cycle gloves, jersey, and we got this funky little hat here from Stick 'em Up. Thun Cranks, NBL. Everything's looking pretty much like it's going to be ads all the way through, guys. We got the great ad here from GHP and Greg Hill. He was the 1983 #1 rider and 84 #1 rider, and I believe he got it in 85 as well. You can pick up the full Patterson racing gear back in 84 along with the Kuwahara gear if you wanted it. All your dyno products right here. And then it's just more t-shirts, uniforms, number plates. Boy, you can still buy these, the Haro 1Bs. You can still order and buy that through Planet BMX if you want it. I love the number plate, but when I see them compared to today's, they just look like billboards. They look so massive now. It's one of the reasons why I haven't decided, hey, maybe I should get a retro one, but those things are so big. Hold on, guys. I'm going to put you on pause, get some water. Sorry about that, guys. Team Cycle number plate. Now, I know Team Cycle is more of the lower end compared to like Haro, but this is a really trick-looking number plate, in my opinion. I love these uni numbers. Uni numbers always came out with kind of the cool shapes and designs. And this one, I actually had this design on one of my number plates, and I just remember the numbers being a little bit smaller than I would have liked them to look, because I had them on a 09 plate, so they kind of got engulfed by the plate itself. So if you're going to have a 09 plate, you definitely want to get the 09 numbers because they're nice and big and chunky and they look great. Great ad for SNE Racing and the landing gear fork. And we got more of the Uni Turbo stuff here. You got the Kryptonite locks that look like something you can put in your car. Man, there's a lot of ads, guys. This thing is just a massive equipment guide. They even got a Wells Cargo service wagon in here. Snowboards, donuts. Greg Hill's book was in here, and too, you got scratch pads. I guess these are stickers you can put on there. And then you've got the Haro Sport frame set. That's really cool. The Haro Trick Star. And then vector bars, and this is for the Skyway Freestyle platform, so this attaches to the top of the bike. Redline RL20 Pro Styler. That's definitely getting up there now, guys, and there's no price on that sucker. You got the Murray X20 FS with Zytel mags. So this must have been Team Murray's kind of entry into the freestyle world, but realistically it just looks like a race bike with tough wheels on it, although it's kind of obviously it's store-bought, so it's not going to be your higher quality. You got your CW frame freestyle bike here, California Freestyle. It's the one we commented on, or I commented on a moment ago, and said it looked like a shopping cart. You got the Kuwahara Freestyle bike, GT Performer Freestyle frame set, and we got this Viscount Dyno ad here. That one's really cool. GT wants you. This is part of the contest for subscribing to the magazine, guys, and we are at the end. Here are the outtakes with R.L. Osborne and one of the greatest shots in the magazine. Look at that. That's during a contest, obviously. Oh, and this was at the Murray World Cup, so the guys were getting down at the World Cup, and that is a great, great shot. Love it. Love it. He's fully locked up too. That's a great shot. And guys, we did it. That is BMX Action, October 1984. I apologize, my voice is still a little weak, so I didn't have all the enthusiasm I usually have, but I'm definitely feeling better these days. This was a great magazine, by the way. The equipment guide was a little overwhelming, but I'm glad we got a chance to go over this. Okay, guys, please like and subscribe. I'm going to see you guys next week. We're going to be doing a race video next week. I'm looking forward to it, and we'll get back on track. I'll see you guys later.